Good evening and welcome to this Week in Review. Tonight's stories include Paul Martin's visit to Burgeo, winners of the Lions Best Decorated Houses, pub night at the Southwest Seniors Complex. These stories plus community events, the BBS Playbill, Off the Rack and more coming up after this. Do you know someone with Alzheimer's disease? Your mother, grandfather, brother or aunt? Chances are you do because more than half of all Canadians do. But what you might not know is that there is help and hope. The Alzheimer's Society has programs and services for people with the disease, their families and their caregivers, and funds research into the cause and cure. There are over 140 offices nationwide and help is only a phone call away. Please call your local Alzheimer's Society at 639-3311 or visit www.alzheimers.ca. On Wednesday of this week, Mr. Paul Martin visited Burgeo. On invitation from our MP, Bill Matthews, Mr. Paul Martin came to our town. Mr. Martin will be running for the leader of the Liberal Party in November Leadership Convention. Many believe that he will be the next Prime Minister of Canada. Mr. Martin and his party was expected to arrive in Burgeo at 2:30 p.m. However, they were delayed. When they arrived, Mr. Martin was greeted with a burst of applause. He then proceeded to greet the 90 members of the community who attended the meeting. Mayor Ann welcomed Mr. Martin to Burgeo. Our MP, Bill Matthews, also spoke to the crowd. Then Mr. Martin addressed the people and gave them an opportunity to ask questions.
Out here this afternoon. We had a little delay, but that's all we should be expecting when you're traveling on this coast. I'd like to thank Mr. Bill Matthews, our MP now, for arranging this and getting the Honourable Paul Martin to come and spend a little while with us today. And I'd like to thank Mr. Martin for attending. And I know you didn't come here today to listen to me, so in the interest of saving time and trying to make up for the last time, I'll just say thank everybody, and I'll pass it over to Bill. Bill.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, and Honourable Mr. Martin, and ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me say a very sincere thank you for coming out today to meet us and to visit and particularly to meet Paul Martin. We are a little behind schedule, and Paul will tell you the reasons for that once he speaks with you, but we're absolutely delighted to have Paul Martin here at Buren St. George's today. We were in Laurel, and now we're in Burgeo, and many people have asked us why those locations, but it's because Paul wanted to come to the south coast of Newfoundland. He wanted to come to rural Newfoundland and Labrador and to see you people and to interact and communicate with you, to hear your concerns, and I guess for you to get to meet him a little better as well. Now, I'm sure I don't need to tell you who Paul Martin is, but he was first elected to Parliament in 1988. He's a member of Parliament for La Salle in Quebec, in Montreal there, Paul, yes, from somewhere in the Montreal region. He became Minister of Finance in 1993, and he served in that position, I guess it was June of 2002, and I could give you all the good financial records of the country since Paul became our Minister of Finance, what the deficit was, what it is, the consecutive surplus budgets that he's brought in, and all the good things about our economy. But of course, as you know and I know, and Paul knows, that there are parts of this country that are not as fortunate as others, and that's what we're about today. We're here to let you meet Paul and for Paul to meet you and have some interaction between the audience and Paul to get him to better understand your concerns and as well to better get you to know him. Because it's one thing to watch him on television and watch him in Parliament and watch him in scrums, but I don't think there's anything like being here face to face so that you can meet him and speak with him and ask him questions. So, ladies and gentlemen, would you join me in welcoming my friend, Paul Martin, and no doubt in my mind, the gentleman who will be the next Prime Minister of Canada.
very much, Bill, and your worship, and really, most importantly, I want to really thank each and every one of you. I want to add my voice to Bill's, to really thanking all of you. I know that you've taken up a substantial chunk of your day to come out here and give Bill and I a chance to talk to you, to hear from you, and I am very, very grateful. Now, Bill referred to the reasons that we're late. I'm going to tell you, we would have been on time, except we went hunting TWIR, and we would have gotten here still, except he is a lousy shot. And then, of course, we were flying over and we saw the caribou. You call them deer. We saw the Queen's deer, and we had to stop there, sell everyone a liberal membership, and so that it does take a while. But I've got to tell you that this is not my first time to the South Coast, but it is the first time that I've ever done the trip from Valorum to Burgeo by helicopter, and I guess it isn't given to everyone to have the chance to see it. But I've got to tell you, Your Worship, that trip is something that every Canadian just should have an opportunity to do. It is. I have just, the last hour and a half, I've just flown over some of the most dramatic, some of the most beautiful country I have ever seen in my life. And then flying into Burgeo, the way that we did it, to see your town set aside, you know, on this magnificent rock with the ocean there and all the little islands. I've got to tell you, it is a sight that I am never going to forget. The reason that I'm here is that it really comes back to a conversation that began a long time ago. I've known Bill Matthews for quite a while. I knew him when he was a Tory. And I've got to tell you that I've always liked Bill Matthews. I've always found him to be a very, very dedicated politician. I've always thought he understood people, and I always thought he had a lot of common sense. I've got to tell you that I think he had a lot more common sense now that he's a Liberal than he ever did before. But one day, a couple of years ago, Bill and I were talking, and Bill has become one of the most articulate persons in our caucus in Parliament, talking about really the needs, certainly the needs of rural Newfoundland, but also the needs of smaller communities right across the country. And one day I was talking and I was telling him just how well I thought the Canadian economy was doing. And I think you know the numbers. Bill made a reference to them, that 5-6 years ago we were a basket case internationally. And today we've got the best national balance sheet, the best job creation, the best growth. And I was going on like this, essentially talking just about how well Canada was doing. And it's doing extraordinarily well. And then he interrupted me and he said, well, wait a minute, Paul, I think there's something that you got to know. And that is that growth that you're talking about, that job creation, it isn't taking place equally across the country. And in fact, while it isn't simply a question that places in Western Canada are doing better than Atlantic Canada, he said the fundamental problem is that it's taking place in Vancouver, Montreal, and it's taking place in Halifax and St. John's. But it's not necessarily taking place outside of St. John's, any more than it's taking place outside of Halifax. And that what you really got to do to understand this country is to basically renew your roots with rural Canada. Renew your roots with those people who are in fact making sure that they can keep their community alive. And that's fundamentally the vision that Bill Matthews has spoken for so strongly in Parliament is the reason that I'm here. And I've got to tell you, I would really ask you, and I think it's really worthwhile, he worked so hard for you. I think we should give Bill Matthews a great, great round of applause. I think we should give Vera a round of applause. So let's just look. I hope that we're going to be able to chance to talk to some of these issues. So let me not talk too long. Let me just simply outline to you that I know. I mean, you take a look at Burgeo, and we talked about it a little bit in the car, Your Worship. I mean, this was certainly one of the most successful communities in Newfoundland and not in Canada. And all of a sudden, the problems that have occurred in the fishery have obviously had their impact here incredibly strongly. We know that over the course of the next couple of months, I think sometime in the month of March, the FRCC is going to make its report. We know that there's also going to be a very important bill is participating in. And the federal members, the provincial members of Parliament and the legislature who are meeting together to basically come up with what ought we be doing about the fishery in terms of the seal hunt, in terms of the straddling stocks, the nose and tail, in terms of simply how do we conserve the fishery. And those are the kinds of things that I think that we've got to talk about. What should we? Is the science right? Who is applying the science? Who's making the judgment? And how do we determine this? And what do we do as a community when a community suddenly finds its livelihood is disappearing? I think we ought to talk about our healthcare system. And how does our healthcare system stay strong, not only in places like St. John's, but in places like the South Coast, throughout the South Coast. We've got to talk about our educational system. We're in Ballora, there was a class, one of the high school classes came, about 15 young people from grades 11 and 12. We were talking about how do they get the kind of education that you can get at St. John's? How do they get an equal shot at what it's all about? These are the kinds of issues which I believe as a country we've got to deal with. I don't think we're going to deal with them by simply applying the kinds of policies that have been applied historically, because obviously we're seeing some things work and other things don't. And I don't believe that sitting in an ivory tower in Ottawa, where if you're the Minister of Finance, or if you're indeed the Prime Minister, you spend far too much of your time. I don't think that sitting in an ivory tower in Ottawa, surrounded by bureaucrats, is where we're going to find the answer. And so when Bill offered to me and suggested that I come here to Burgeo to talk to you, I jumped at the opportunity. I jumped at the opportunity because the time that when a politician is between jobs, and that's what I guess I am, when a politician is between jobs, this is when he really ought to take the chance to learn. So I'm not here to preach to you. I really am here to learn from you. And I really hope that you'll give me that opportunity right now. Meantime, thank you very much for giving the two of us this opportunity to be here. Thank you very, very much. So who'd like to begin?
Mr. Martin, I guess I'll start the questions moving. And a very important question on behalf of our council is, as you're well aware, we've been under moratorium now for 13 years. And after 13 years, we're being told that there's very little, if any, recovery in the groundfish stocks. There's no fishing by boats from Canada. We've got foreign fishing under the disguise of NAFO. The jurisdiction outside of 200 don't belong to us. And I'm sure that this is an old question that's been tossed around many times, but it's a very important question to this town and its recovery. So therefore, I would like to ask you, and have it on record, what your position is with regard to custodial management. We've got full control inside 200, custodial management outside of 200 on the nose and tail and the Flemish cat. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that is obviously a very important question. It's one that Bill has raised as well as a number of others. Let me put, I am quite prepared to, I am not in a position to give you the final answer. I'm not going to pretend that I am the Prime Minister or that I'm going to win. I obviously very much hope to do so. But I will say this to you. I have spoken to External Affairs and intend to speak to them again. I've spoken to Fishery Canada and I've spoken to the Europeans. Essentially, the Canadian position, the one that you've just expressed, is that we want custodial management. We're not trying to destroy anybody else's historic rights. What we're really saying is that we want to preserve the stocks that are the straddling stocks at the nose, over the nose and tail. And let me tell you something. I do not understand why the Europeans refuse to understand the need for conservation. And I do not understand the position that has been taken by External Affairs or in fact the Department of Fisheries in terms of this. It simply makes no sense to me that our government would not in fact put as its #1 priority custodial management. That it would not say that we are going to protect those stocks, that we have seen the devastation that has occurred in not doing it, and I am prepared to tell you that coming up with that answer is going to be a priority for me.
Just before Mr. Martin departed for St. John's, the Mayor presented him with a special gift.
present to Mr. Martin, whereby that he'll be able to come back whenever he feels like it. And we've got the same transportation ourselves. If he wants us to come up there, then we can come up. So just give me a minute now that the town manager is gone to get it out of the car. And so we've got a dory that was handcrafted here in Burgeo. And if the wind is fair, there's a sail there as well. So there's your transportation.
That's the helicopter, that. All right. Thank you.
The Gulf News representative and Burgeo Broadcasting had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Martin before he had to leave.
Yes.
What have you learned mostly from Burgeo, and what can you do for them in the future?
Oh, that essentially there really is a disconnect between fishing communities and the science. This is not the first time that I've heard this, and that if we're going to put more money into fishery science, which I absolutely believe we must do, that in fact we've got to make sure that the scientists relate directly to those who've got years and years of practical experience. The second thing is that we've got to continue putting money back into the whole marine infrastructure as we started doing in the last budget. Communities like Burgeo are going to survive. In fact, they're going to thrive. And we have a responsibility both at the provincial level and certainly at the federal level to make it happen.
What can be done in the short term? People need jobs now.
Well, that's the kind of thing that we've been working on. Bill Matthews has been working on very strongly. We just got to pull out every in terms of what can be done.
Mr. Martin, I'm with Burgeo Broadcasting here, our local community channel. I just have a quick question. If and when you become Prime Minister, would you consider making a Newfoundland MP Minister of Fisheries?
Well, obviously, I think it would be a little premature of me. I'm not leader yet to start talking about what kind of a cabinet and what kind of a cabinet I would make. But let me tell you that when you take a look at the quality of representatives that Newfoundland have sent to Ottawa, they are the highest quality, and certainly there's a great deal of great talent that any government will want to use.
Okay, what about your, I know we have a lot of problems with NAFO. The Canadians are having a lot of problems with NAFO. They're very dissatisfied. Do you think Canadians, if you become Premier, I know you, like you said, you haven't got that far yet, but if you do become Prime Minister, will you consider withdrawing Canadian membership in NAFO?
No, but I do believe that NAFO has got to be made to work. I think that the Canadian dissatisfaction with NAFO is very justified. And that essentially what we've got to do is to make NAFO work. And I just think it's inconceivable, the reactions of a number of the members of NAFO, and I believe we can make it work. And I can tell you one thing, that I will make it a prime ministerial responsibility to ensure that it works for Canada.
Thank you very much. Mayor Ann dropped by our office on Thursday. He told us he had spoke to our MP, Bill Matthews. Mr. Matthews stated that without a doubt, Mr. Martin was very impressed with the town of Burgeo. During several of his conversations with others, Mr. Martin spoke about Burgeo. The mayor feels that we achieved our goal of letting Mr. Martin know who we are and that Burgeo intends to be around for a long time. Lions member Roger Hand dropped by our studio on Tuesday of this week to present the plaques to the winners of the Best Decorated Houses.
First of all, on behalf of the Burgeo Lions Club, I'd like to thank everyone for the support in the past and the continued support in the future. Also, I would like to thank everyone who participated in the Light Up for Christmas. With that, we'll now present third place winner goes to Ivan Lushman. Congratulations, Nina.
Thank you.
Stay, Rena. Now, you're not camera shy. Second place goes to Welf Porter. Congratulations, Welf. First place goes to George Eric. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone who lit up and look forward to doing it again next year. Thanks.
Thank you.
The Anglican Church Outreach has received a reply from the Church of the Advent in Montreal, thanking them once again for the knitted items. Dear Mrs. Skinner and all in the outreach community, your cartons of Anne knitted garments arrived the other day, and I just wanted to let you know how welcome they are. In the last few months, several Peruvian families have arrived in Montreal and joined our church. Between them, they have quite a number of children. Members of our community have helped them find apartments, furniture, and get settled in. On Sunday, December the 22nd, I invited them to come down to the refugee center and we open your curtains. Many little ants helped to tear off the sticky tape. I wish you could have seen them diving into the box for mittens and hats and socks and sweaters. The parents made the children stand in line, and they were all so excited. Winter clothes are still a novelty for these children. Every family took a bag. 2 of the women are pregnant, so they were glad for the baby things. And every child came and thanked me in English. All the garments are so beautiful, and it's such a treat to have hand-knitted things. We still have half a carton left for others who come to the center. On behalf of us all at the Advent and those who enjoy the warm mittens and sweaters and socks and hats, grateful thanks to you and all at your community outreach. We wish you all a very Merry Christmas and with any luck, peace in the new year. Yours sincerely, June Patterson. Stay tuned for more of This Week in Review coming up after this.
After you've seen the whales and the icebergs and the fjords, come witness a natural wonder. A Saturday night, St. John's, Newfoundland. Imagine that.
On Wednesday of this week, members of the Burgeo Lions Club hosted a pub night at the Southwest Seniors Complex. The pub night began at 7 p.m. and continued until approximately 9 p.m. Music for the evening was provided by George Sutton, Norm Parsons, Clayton Mead, Rebecca Young, and Henry Young. Many of the residents requested their favorite songs, and of course there was dancing, and the Lions members were only glad to help out in this department. They also served refreshments and some snacks. Lion Roger Ann did the filming for us, and many of the seniors told him that they really enjoyed the evening. Sometime during the evening, a stranger dropped by for a visit and took advantage of the music to enjoy a dance. However, soon after, she decided it was time to leave. We don't know her name or where she came from. It is believed that she may be a resident of the Southwest Seniors Complex. The Burgeo Lions Club provides a wonderful service for our seniors when they host events like this. We thank Roger Ann for filming for us.
Until you're pure, I hope you'll never let go. You're not the hand that you've been holding for so long.
On Tuesday of this week, we had an interview with the latest recipient of the Queen's Jubilee Medal. We have with us in our studio today Constable Ron Caldwell. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you. Welcome.
Now, before Christmas, you and I had a chat, and you were telling me that you were going to receive a Queen's Jubilee medallion, and you have received it.
Yes, on the 6th of December in St. John's at a ceremony with about 50 other RCMP officers, I received my medal. It's for community service.
So, how did did you apply for this yourself, or did someone do it on your behalf, or was it through the RCMP, the Lions Club, or Sea Cadets? Or?
It was through the RCMP. Corporal MacDonald nominated me for the medal. It's for service to Canada, community, and the people of Canada. And he nominated me on basis of my work with the cadets and the Lions Club and Santa Claus and the things that I do around town.
Okay, so. Yes. You had to travel to St. John's, obviously.
Yes, went down. The weather wasn't great on the way down, but we made it okay, and the ceremony was quite nice. The Deputy Commissioner Ryan, the commander for the whole Atlantic region, was there presenting the medals, and it was a good ceremony. It was interesting, and it was nice to be recognized.
Now, take us through the ceremony. Was it just a 15 or 20 minute thing, or was there what did entail the ceremony itself?
So the ceremony, we all got together in the gymnasium at the headquarters building in St. John's, and there was about, like I say, about 50 of us there, and they called our names, and we went forward and received our medals from Deputy Commissioner Ryan, and then went back, and afterwards there was a little function and sort of meet and greet, and got to talk to some of the dignitaries that were there and that sort of thing.
Okay, so there really wasn't like a banquet,
No,
supper type thing?
No, it was,
Okay.
it was just an hour or so in the afternoon, I guess, would have taken care of it.
Okay. You were present when the mayor received his medal. I believe this is the same one, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it was for civilians, military, and members of the RCMP as well.
Okay,
so.
I was going. That was my next question. Was it different divisions and things like that? So, were you surprised?
I was very surprised and honored and pleased and all sorts of words to describe it.
So now well, of course, obviously now you know that Constable McDonald or Corporal McDonald nominated you. Now, how did you receive word that you had gotten this medal?
There was a letter came in the mail that said I was accepted and I'd be receiving my medal at this presentation ceremony in St. John's.
So it's kind of like a
yeah.
early Christmas.
Like I knew he had nominated me, but I wasn't. I had no great expectations of receiving it or anything, because medals, especially that type of thing, are there wasn't a whole lot of them to be given out, and there's 15,000 members of the RCMP, so I'm quite pleased. Now, I'm not sure how many were given out in the RCMP, but
yeah, but now you must have done up quite an extensive report on your volunteer for you as an RCMP officer to receive that. That's awesome.
There was an application form, a nomination form, and then up to a one-page write-up on what he's done in the community, or however they described it. Some was for community service, like mine was. Some were for doing special projects. Some were given out for just dedication to service to the RCMP, that sort of thing. So.
Okay. So it was a wide range of categories.
Right.
Then.
Now, I'm very pleased to win it for the community service part, because I feel that I'm a part of this community, and I've really enjoyed it here. So.
Yeah. Well, we certainly congratulate you, and the honor was well deserved, I'm sure. And can you wear this medal? Can you wear it?
I wear it I can wear it on both my RCMP and my Sea Cadet uniform. It's an accepted medal for both. I received one other medal when I was in the Armed Forces for NATO service, and I've got the two combined now, and I wear them both at the same time.
Oh, you brought the medal with you, didn't you?
Yes, I did. And like I said, I have the two mounted together. The one on the right is the NATO one that I received when I was in the Armed Forces, and this is the Queen's Jubilee Golden Medal. I have a description here that came with the medal that says it's awarded to those persons who, like you, have made significant contribution to Canada, their community, or to their fellow Canadians. The front of the medal bears the current Canadian effigy of Her Majesty, and the reverse, the royal crown above a single maple leaf on which is superimposed the royal cipher. So it's suspended from a ribbon. The outer stripes appear in red, followed by broad blue stripes, white stripes, and a red stripe in the center. So it's
very colorful.
It's very nice. It's
nice that you can wear it.
Yes, it is. It's good, and like I say, I can wear it with both my Sea Cadet uniform and my RCMP uniform for special dress occasions.
Okay. Well, once again, thanks for coming in.
No problem at all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Stay with us for Off the Rack, the community events, and the BBS Playbill, all after this.
This is the place where the dawn breaks earliest, the new year comes soonest, where the Atlantic first meets the New World, the oldest city in North America, the far east of the Western world. Imagine that.
Off the Rack. This week, as we scanned our tape rack, we came across a tape of a snowmobile ride to Sink Surf Gold Mine. Let's look back to 1989.
Good evening. Welcome to the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. I'm Rebecca Young. The winner of the minor hockey TV bingo was Linda McDonald. Congratulations, Linda. The next scheduled TV bingo will be hosted by the LOL on Wednesday, January 22nd at 7 p.m. Cards are $1 each, or $6 or $5, and are available from any LOL member and are in most stores around town. Please support the LOL by playing TV bingo, and you could win $300. The Burnett's are selling tickets on a basket of towels. Tickets are $1 each, or 3 for $2. Draw date is set for Saturday, February 8th. Tickets are available from any Burnett's member. With Valentine's Day only a month away, the Guiding Movement are preparing for their annual Valentine Balloon fundraiser. This is a unique way to send Valentine's greetings to someone special in your life. To order, you may contact any member of the Guiding Movement, or you may call Kim at 2209, Liz 2324, or Lisa at 2076. To order a balloon for your prayer partner, please call Grace at 886-2117. Place your order today. The Grand Search and Rescue Team have finally made their preparations for their snowmobile ride to Burnt Dam on March 1st. The 160-kilometer ride will begin at or near the community center if the snow conditions are suitable. This year they have added a poker run for any rider who may be interested. It will cost $2 per rider, and the winner will receive a gift valued at $50. Riders will be permitted to double up on one skidoo. Upon arrival back at the community center, the Lioness will serve soup and sandwiches. As an added incentive, the rider raising the most money will be given a GPS. Pick up your pledge sheet today and come along for what will be an enjoyable ride. February 9th to 15th is Teacher Staff Appreciation Week. Since 1988, Teacher Staff Appreciation Week has become an annual celebration across Canada in support of teachers and other members of the school staff. It is essential our school have the support and involvement of parents and the community. We are looking for your help in organizing this event again this year. This week provides us with the opportunity of giving teachers and school staff a warm hug. Let's let them know that they are appreciated, that we want to work with them, and that we're on the same team. Let's be creative, try something new, have fun. If you're interested in helping or have questions and/or suggestions, please call Dina, School Council Chair, at 886-1338. If your group organization has an upcoming event planned, we would be happy to advertise it for you. Just call the BBS office by Wednesday of each week to have items included in this portion of our broadcast. That concludes the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. See you next week.
BBS Playbill. Tune in on Tuesday for a rebroadcast of Pansy's Garden. Try your luck on Wednesday by playing LOL TV Bingo. Join Pansy and the gang for 2 stories, a craft, and lots of fun on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on Pansy's Garden. Next Sunday at 6:30 p.m. we'll have religious revelations from the United Church. And I'll be here again next week with This Week in Review. For This Week in Review, I'm Marie Rose. Good night and God bless.